Hello everyone, welcome. This week's topic, jaw surgery. Today is the 4-year anniversary of my very first double jaw surgery, which I had on June 13th, 2013. It's been a process, it's been a journey, and I'd like to share a bit about it with the intent of helping you along your path. So stay tuned if you are curious to find out more. Where to begin? I have no idea. I could take this topic of jaw surgery in about 9 million different angles, but it felt important to me to just start somewhere. I didn't really script this. I'm curious myself to see what I bring up. But really, what I'd like to share with you is that it is very important that if you are undergoing this procedure to listen carefully to your doctors, your surgeons, your orthodontists, whoever your service care providers are, that they give you really thorough preparation and recovery information. And I found it really valuable. Definitely take the time to read the stacks of literature you get. It will give you lots of good ideas on how to clinically recover and go through the motions and really just take care of yourself on a very basic day-to-day level. However, there's a huge emotional component that goes into surgery and preparation and recovery. And that's one thing. And then there's a big physiological aspect. For instance, take iron supplements leading up to the surgery if you suffer from any form of low iron or anemia. Of course, anything I suggest to you that is a bit more prescriptionary, please chat about it with your doctor to make sure that this is the right fit for you. I'm not a specialist. I just know from my own personal experience that on an everyday level, I am generally low iron. And when you're not able to feed yourself properly during recovery, when your jaw is wired shut and you have minimal movement and ability to consume any food on any level, it's really important to have those supplements keeping you balanced physiologically. And I certainly didn't do that. I wasn't really suggested to me to do that beforehand. And when I found out I needed to have my surgery redone, I would have really benefited from having some sort of iron supplement and gotten into the habit of having some sort of protein supplement on hand. So I would have really loved to have known that. If, you know, it's not iron, but there's some other area in terms of vitamins that you sort of lack generally, find ways of incorporating that are feasible into your diet. For instance, I started taking liquid iron once I realized that I would be quite severely lacking in iron. It was hard because it tasted foul, but I needed this to get better. And it was really dark and it stained my teeth. I had to suck it through wired shut teeth and a mouth that couldn't open, and I'm pretty sure that had some permanent discoloration on my teeth. However, I wanted to make it clear that this video is not about aesthetics so much for me as it is about overall feelings of health and well-being and comfort in my own jaw area, because I really suffered from that for over half my life leading up to the surgery. I was 26 when I had it done, and I couldn't really remember much of a time of my life without some sort of jaw pain. To give you a bit of background, I would often wake up and have to sit up for about 30 seconds in bed before I could really shift my jaw into a position where I could open my mouth. It would be locked shut from the moment I woke up. And who knows at what point in my sleep that had happened, but I was a serious tooth grinder at night during sleep, pretty much since I've had teeth. That's just something I have to accept may not change. I did kind of go into surgery thinking this is going to cure everything. I don't know anyone directly that's really had this, but all I hear is like they have the surgery and it's just worked wonders. And I want to be here to just kind of keep it real with you that it's really good to just keep expectations really low, because I really discovered that each journey is very, very personal. Each body recovers differently. Each person's reasons for needing this is different. They're all similar, but we all process them differently in our bodies and in our minds. It's just been a big learning process in terms of having to be very patient with myself, because it wasn't instant gratification. It was a long road of pain. It's still worth it though. I really don't want this to come off as being scary. I want this to come off as just being real, and to know that if scary things happen to you during this process, that's okay. And it's just important to be mindful of the emotions that can come along with this in terms of fear and worry and anxiety and stress and sadness and pain and all those sorts of things that we don't really enjoy feeling as humans, let alone when we're physically unwell, to be able to process them. Now that we've talked about that little physiological self-care pointer about vitamins, I do want to loop on back to the emotional component of preparing for surgery. Really, you can only prepare so much for a situation that is completely out of your control. In moments of pre-surgery panic and when thinking the worst case scenario, like I thought there'd be a big earthquake or something during my procedure, and that definitely didn't happen. But really just catch those thoughts, notice them, don't fixate and attach to them, don't go down the rabbit hole of fear and the panic, and just notice the thoughts and know that they are so normal, and you're not the first person to have those thoughts, whether it's jaw surgery or any surgery going on out of your control in your life. You could have a little mantra like short-term pain for long-term gain. That one really has run true for me, and it was a good one to have in my back pocket leading up to the surgery. You can also do like a list of like a laundry list of all the reasons that you are going to be doing this surgery. For me, it was a risk. It's always a risk, but I thought that the pros would outweigh the cons, and I would say it's very true. I'm really glad I had the 6-hour first surgery and the 5.5-hour second surgery to redo it. I would do it all over again, even the revision, to get to the point where I am today. But it's not been easy, but it's still been overall in the grand scope of life, I would say short-term pain for long-term gain. And really, I would suggest letting go of any expectation that on your healing path you should be any one place at any one time. I would say that do not compare your situation to another person's if someone's went swimmingly and yours didn't, or if you feel like you're taking longer to get where you'd like to be in terms of level of comfort in your jaw, then just take it day by day. Sometimes you'll have to take it second by second, especially if you have something really traumatic happen where you have 3 weeks into your recovery like I did and things literally went sideways and my bite fused like this kind of, and I was stuck for 3 months until I could get an emergency surgery revision date to correct how in a critical healing phase the bite just fused in the wrong spot. And I had elastics on my teeth closing my jaw shut with elastics on my braces, so it wasn't wire at that point. It was not going well, and like my face was in so much pain overnight, and I should have called right away as soon as I realized like the pain was not manageable with meds. That I could have called the emergency line. That would be another tip I have for you. Call your surgeon's emergency number. I didn't do that. I waited till the morning to call the office, and at that point it was too late. I don't know if it was too late already. I don't think too many thoughts like that because I can't change what happened. But I highly recommend calling that line and getting treatment as soon as possible. If you're any sorts of extreme discomfort, just tackle it right away. Continuing on, so recovery. Unfortunately, you cannot learn recovery from a textbook or a handout. You really just have to live through it yourself and do your best to maintain a positive outlook even when things get tough. Allow yourself to be upset when things are upsetting, because that's okay and that's normal, and to just move through with patience and kindness to yourself along the way. And my hope in making this video is that you're hearing some things that maybe are comforting to you, realistic to you, and that you weren't prepped with in advance by any of the necessarily surgeons or orthodontists or other healthcare providers you may be working with in advance. So for this part of the video, let's just talk about a few things that I would have maybe loved to have known before I had the surgery. And for instance, I woke up from the surgery, basically I had my upper jaw widened, my lower jaw brought forward, and the widening came from bits of bone from my right hip both times I had that. So I had the same procedure done twice. And it was almost the same length and duration both times. So that's my perspective. I didn't have the rhinoplasty portion of the surgery, so I can't speak to that. My heart goes out to you if you're going through that too, because I'm sure that's just another layer of healing and pain that you're dealing with, and I hope it goes well for you if you're having that or have had that done. So you wake up from the surgery with this plate on the roof of your mouth, and I don't know the purpose of it. I wasn't warned about it in advance. I was terrified about having to have it removed, but my mouth was still so numb when it was removed. Actually, that was one of the least painful things at the post-operation adjustments, so don't panic about that. I feel like that will be okay for you. It was for me, so I hope it's okay for you too. Accept that your teeth will not be easily cleaned for quite some time, and that's okay. It will the whole thing just seem like a really distant dream, nightmare, surreal experience in the end, and you'll just be happy to be present and living with less discomfort in your life. Again, let go of any expectations that your recovery should take X amount of time before you feel a certain amount better, because it might be delayed. The healing process may be delayed. There's a small chance you might need revision surgery. I didn't even know that was an option. I thought things might not work in terms of me having more comfort in my life, but didn't actually think the whole procedure would have to be redone. So know that that could happen. Take extreme care of yourself to avoid that, and just be really kind to yourself and along the way. I can't stress that enough for surgery or in life in general. Get off the liquid, morphine, dilaudid, whatever you're prescribed, horrible, nasty narcotics as soon as you possibly can. Own them, love them, use them for when you need them immediately post-op, but just take the liquid children's Advil for pain management as soon as you can, because I never take drugs, and when I was prescribed the heavy-duty stuff, I thought I was prescribed this, I must take it until the prescription ends. That is so not the case, and I took it and I kept taking it, and when I finally realized, I was like, I don't need this, I feel funky on this, and I went off of it and I had some really horrible, worst nightmares, chills, sweats, 2-day like detox basically of my life. It was horrible. Weaning myself off this medication, and I highly recommend. When I did it the second time around, I was so glad I was off it after probably a couple days and took the minimum amount, because that was scary and I never want to be in that position again. To draw this particular video to a bit of a conclusion for now, there's so much more I could say, and I don't know who's gonna find this, who might have questions, who might be willing to ask them, who might be feeling they need to ask them, but I would really love to help you if you do have any specific questions. Put them in the comments below, share your experience. I'd love to know how it was for you, how you coped, are you thriving now, are you still struggling? Because 2 years after I had my surgery, I was having pain again in my jaw, and this was unexpected and annoying, and I went back to the orthodontist and they suggested I have braces again and at this point I had my braces off for well over a year at this point, and that just did not sit well with me. I really didn't want to go through that again, so I held back. I slept on that for a good long time. Things seemed to ease off again, and then the pain came back, and my wonderful dentist suggested going to a prosthodontist, and that could maybe be another video because I'll just never stop. But that treatment I have undergone, and it's not been invasive, and it's been so wonderful and so comforting and helpful to me, and totally, again, unexpected. Didn't think my healing path would involve another specialist, didn't think I'd be going down that road. I'm truly grateful for that. So you just don't ever know what's gonna happen. And I didn't do before and after pictures in this video. Maybe in another one I will, if there's more of a specific focus I want to put on a particular aspect of surgery and prep and recovery and all that stuff that goes into it. But for me, you can look up loads of other people's stories and see the before and after, the gory pictures, and they are grim. They are super grim. There's no doubting that. But it is temporary. The pain is temporary. It too shall pass. And I truly hope that if you are going through something like this, that you have comfort and support around you, and that you're able to provide that to yourself as well, that you have the best, most optimal experience. If you don't, know that you will learn from it. Know that things will get so completely bad that they can only go up from there, and you will get through. Your perspective on life will shift dramatically, and ultimately it can make you just so much more grateful, so much more positive and enthusiastic of a person in this life, and that will translate to your peers, to your family, and ultimately, this is going to sound very cheesy, but you will be making the world a better place. And I truly believe this. This was a really tough time, and it's an ongoing lifelong recovery. I'm letting go of any time frame that I should be at a certain area. The numbness I experience is the lowest it's ever been. It takes years for, particularly on the bottom jaw, for that to go away, but that's okay. It becomes a new normal, and you adjust and you adapt. And I'm really grateful that you spent this time with me today. Thanks for listening to my story. I'd love to hear about yours. If you enjoyed this video, go on, give it a thumbs up and share it maybe with someone that you think would benefit from it. And I hope to see you again in another video for who knows what, because my channel's super random right now. So I will see you in the next one. Bye.